Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
Do you think someone in their 20s should be able to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
They're not hurting each other. Why not?
What?
They say that you shouldn't try to debate dumb people because they'll lower you to their level and beat you with experience. And that's exactly what happened a few days ago when Charlie decided to accept the debate with Sneako. We all know that Sneako is not the brightest bulb in the room. His full mental capacity wouldn't equate to a newborn baby. But now Charlie, most critical. It's almost as if in my previous video I foreshadowed this canon event where both decided to quote-unquote debate and both ended up losing. No sir, in this debate there are no winners, only losers, and their brain-rotted takes. Almost 1 year ago, Critical himself sent the equivalent of a nitrogen bomb, completely destroying Sneako and all of his credibility. For at least 1 month, Sneako got ridiculed everywhere he went. The nuclear fallout of Charlie's video on Sneako was so big that to this day, Sneako has nightmares of Charlie in a moist black robe saying, "Those are not clips, they are mags." Sneako must have PTSD. Every time that he sees a black robe, he starts sweating profusely. Oh no, not again. But today is a sad day. We are not celebrating Big Dad Critical winning. No, today, like all other days, we are wearing black, mourning a terrible loss. Not only because Charlie had a bad take, but because it was against Sneako himself. Out of all people to put an L in Charlie, that to be the biggest loser of them all. Shifter, Sneako also had an L, skibbity brain dad take. But we are already used to that. Sneako having bad takes is the same thing as saying that the earth is round, the sky is blue. That's a given. Every time that he turns on the stream, one new L gets added to his repertoire. Sneako is like, oh no! Is he going to start saying how much he loves cuties again? Or how much he loves watching his girlfriend getting banged by other dudes? Enough yapping, I've been edging you guys for too long. Just watch my clips.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting, as you agree with.
Okay, so as long as everyone...
If your parents are okay with it and you are okay with it, I think that's totally a familial decision to make, yeah.
Okay, so a child can cut their penis off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married?
Well, that's a decision that now extends beyond the family, because now you're bringing in a different party. So if you have someone that's your age coming in saying, I want to marry that child, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance.
So,
no.
But it's still a personal decision. You're still deciding.
Because there's
take the other party out of the equation.
It's
a personal decision. If I'm 16 and I personally want to marry this girl, she's beautiful. She's 21 years old. Her family wants to do it. My family wants to do it. You're saying I can't do that. We're both consenting. I'm ready to go. I'm physically mature, but I'm not allowed to marry because Moy says that woman's a pedophile. But if then the next day I leave it, I'm depressed, I want to cut my penis off, I can go right into the clinic, snip it off, and start taking HRT like Chris Tyson. That's a society that makes sense to you?
It is. I believe everyone has I believe everyone has the right to do with their body what they want to do.
Oh.
This was one of the key moments from the stream. Two shit-slinging monkeys throwing feces at each other. With all due respect to Charlie and none to Sneako, I've a clear bias, but I still can't help but to think how idiotic Charlie's take was. I think that it's fine to chop a child's pee-pee off if everyone's consenting, but it's not fine to marry a toddler with an adult if all parties involved are in agreement, parents included. Needless to say, Sneako's take on child marriage is criminal, but coming from a guy who loves cuties, I'm always expecting the lowest IQ bottom of the barrel take. But who gave the retardium potion to Charlie? What was wrong with him on that day? Children are terrible at making decisions. I know, because I was one. In the same way that children shouldn't be allowed to make decisions that will impact them in the long term, like, I don't know, marry adults, they should also not be allowed to make decisions on their gender until they're like at least 18. And I was dumb and made so many dumb decisions when I was 18, but still that's a good age to start allowing people to make their own decisions and mistakes. Either none is okay or everything is okay. In my opinion, none is okay. No, little Timmy, you're still too young to chop your pee-pee off. No, you won't marry that big yet goth mummy. She's 30. Even if children with gender dysphoria don't automatically go to the chopping board and go under gender-affirming surgery, they go on hormone blockers pretty quickly, which are irreversible, by the way. So if the child changes his mind, the hormones won't suddenly come back at a later date. Although the short-term side effects may be reversible, the long-term side effects are uncertain, so doctors are basically using children as lab rats in order to discover late-term side effects in transgender patients. And if you don't trust me, I got it from Wikipedia. So if you're a boy, are uncertain about your gender, go on puberty blockers for a long time, and then decide to resume at a later date, chances are that your bones, your mental health, and most importantly, your pee-pee won't grow big and strong. And that's if the surgeon doesn't decide to go Japanese restaurant chef on your pecker and cuts it off in a gender-affirming surgery, which is basically also cosmetic surgery. You get it flipped inside out, shoved inside you, and your balls will get the same treatment as the family dogs. Summer, where are my balls? Trash! And it's irreversible. The doctor will not grab your balls from the trash and magically reattach them.
I'm talking about your personal beliefs. Do you think someone in their 20s should be able to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
To someone in their 20s should be, I mean, I personally wouldn't do it. I don't know many people who would do it. The maturity for people and the teenagers in the West is getting much worse, but they're not hurting each other. Why not?
Sneako would definitely do it. He's the type of guy to watch cuties on repeat, but he won't do it in real life because he'll get sent straight to the slammer and might like what other inmates will do to him. These are our self-described online alpha males nowadays. Little boys who watch their girlfriends being railed by other dudes and do photo shoots with their peepees out for homoerotic magazines.
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally. Like, do you think it is okay for... I'm not talking about just you specifically anymore. Anyone. Do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
A 21-year-old, if there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented, and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it, why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
Well,
why would I tell them if everybody's consenting, if everybody's okay with it, if the parents are okay with it, if nobody's being harmed, if it's going to be okay, if they're both abiding by the rules and they're not hurting each other, why not?
But they're still, like, they're at best a sophomore in high school. They can't consent to something like that. Like, do you...
They can consent to something like that. They're sophomore at max. Yeah, the same way that they shouldn't be making decisions on what gender they want to be. I don't get the double standard here. So let me get this straight. They can't make decisions, but changing gender, arguably one of the hardest decisions, is okay? And the exact same thing goes for Sneako. Blood. Even if the father, mother, grandparents, and family cat are okay with it, just wait until you're 18. Is it that hard to follow the rules? And if for him it's okay to marry a minor to an adult, it also should be okay to subject the same minor to hormone blockers and gender-affirming surgery if they so desire. Case closed. What the double standard?
I've been alright, man. How are things going on your end?
Things are going good. Every time I talk to you, I'm in some random country. Last time I was in Japan. I was standing outside of a club, actually, in Japan, and then I think you texted me, and I left the club, and I was just standing on the street underneath, like, some cherry blossom flowers at, like, 3 a.m., and now I'm in Turkey.
It was actually a pretty serene landscape, actually. That was very cinematic.
It was the nice flowers, and I think people had this idea that I was an angry person, or maybe that's how you painted me, and then seeing me, like, walk around, like, with the nice flowers, like, oh, okay, this guy's not, he's not that red pill rage.
Hey man, I don't try and paint you as aggressive or anything, but your clips, you go ballistic.
Because, man,
that's most people's impression.
I'm all clips, not mags, but things do get clipped out of context, you know.
It's just so weird seeing Sneako out of character. He seems like a pretty chill dude whenever he's not clip maxing, saying whatever for attention. Who knew he can actually hold a normal conversation with Charlie? And they even go as far as to compliment each other. But then, brother out of nowhere opens his mouth, starts yapping about how much he loves cuties. Brother, just stop. Turn off the internet, brain, will ya? How clout diseased is he actually? He would do the most deplorable act humankind has ever seen just to farm some views. Sneako will 100% look back on his past and be ashamed of what he has done and what he has said. And all of those dumb takes for what? Online views? We aren't laughing with you, we're laughing at you. Is that something that you'd be proud to show your children? Alright boys, here's daddy when he was younger. In this clip, you can see me hard glazing Andrew Tate, my favorite man. man. In this other clip, you can see me admitting to watching my girlfriend getting drilled by a 12-inch BBC. But then, behind the curtains is a normal guy.
With all of what's going on here, why are you so insistent on like the age of consent being like unreasonable? Or at least that's the impression I and most people gather from the way you speak about it.
Because Sneako is either clip farming by choosing a hot button topic and trying to defend a losing battle. He lost. Why does he keep fighting? So either that or he's a Neva Chris Tyson and likes them young. Which one is it? I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both.
Because I feel like age of consent should just be an accepted number, and I think the accepted one is 18. Like, regardless of where you talk about in the world, I feel like once you start talking about someone under 18, you're basically just talking like a predator. Like, I feel like 18 is a pretty well-established number for most sensible people. At 18, you're going to college, you're living your own life now, you're outside of your family nest. Anything under that, you're still a kid.
Yes, and kids aren't or shouldn't be allowed to make big decisions. We circle back to the beginning, both are decisions that require the big boy pants. Either both are okay or none are. At the end of the day, both Sneako and Charlie took a massive L. Sneako because he likes children and Charlie because he thinks that it's okay to let children make life-altering decisions with likely irreversible consequences. No winners, only bad takes.